Hey up everybody, welcome back to the Aldo Cycling YouTube channel, where today I'm going to be doing a preview of the next round of the Superclasico, which is the BEMER Classique. Of course, the last round was the World Championships. Hopefully that went okay for you. I moved into the top 90, so hopefully I'm going to get another good result here at the BEMER Classique, which is kind of touted as being a bit of a sprinter race, but it's definitely got some bergs in the final kind of half of the race, which is going to make things a bit more difficult. And it's certainly more for sort of a classic style sprinters. The weather's going to be good, so generally picking classic style riders is going to be quite a good shout. Obviously, Arnaud is the leading rider in that. He is so good at these very just attritional one-day races where, you know, you really need a good sprint, but also the ability to climb quite well. So is a really good choice for you to be going with. I don't see any reason why to not go with him, other than if you want to spread your points out a little bit more. I don't think at the moment I've got in my team, but that's just because I wanted a few more options. I would avoid the pure sprinters of, say, Malia and Groenewegen. I just don't think that this is a race particularly suited to them. I think you're going to be wasting credits going with these riders, and just try and stick to riders who are also like a Pedersen is a really good choice as well. He's come off the Tour of Denmark, so we don't know if he's going to be, say, a bit too tired maybe to do well in this race, but he is a rider who should be doing really well in this race, so I'm going to say that he's a good one to be picking. Demar's not too bad. It really depends on his climbing legs. Of course, he's moved to Arkea now, so it's very possible that he's going to find some new motivation to try and really stick it to FDJ. Groenewegen, like I said, I won't pick the pure sprinters, just trying to stick to the pure classics riders. Haight is an interesting one. He hasn't been racing by the looks of things for a while now, and honestly I just don't think he's that great of a choice. I think that he is a fast sprinter and, you know, he should be doing very well here, but I just haven't seen him racing recently for me to really make a good call as to whether he is going to be a very competitive rider in this race. So perhaps have a little bit of caution towards Haight. He is fitted towards this race, but I just haven't seen enough form from him. Lampard, probably not. Arambarou has looked pretty decent recently. I think it was at did he finish top 10 in San Sebastian? I think it was. He's looking in really good form, so I think he's a good one. Bennett, probably not. Nizzolo, no. Ulissi, punchy, but not probably going to win this, so probably not Ulissi. Van Avermaet, no. Van Poppel's an interesting one. He's down to do the Vuelta, so I think he's trying to get in some good form. I would consider Sam Bennett is going to get dropped, so Van Poppel, if he's got decent climbing legs, could be a good sort of middle ground for Bora to be going with, but it is kind of risky because you're essentially saying that you're banking on Bennett being dropped for Van Poppel to come into play when there are other riders who are leaders for the same price, if not less. I think that Bettiol's an interesting one. We saw how good he was at World Champs. He finished in 5th place, did a very audacious attack, and I think that, you know, he's also very fast from a sprint, even though he won't be winning, but he'll be an animator on these climbs. You know, he's going to be one of the ones attacking, trying to make it a bit of a reduced group, and I could certainly see a scenario where, say, he gets away with a mass Pedersen and maybe another kind of attacking option, and maybe they fight it out for the victory. So I like Bettiol because it gives me an attacking option as well. Hershey is a very similar rider to that. I think that Hershey's looking in good form, so you're banking on him getting away in a move. I think that, you know, he is going to be a decent choice if you're thinking that it's going to be an attacking break that's going to make it to the line from that final climb. Kooij, I think, is good too. I think that he should definitely be, you know, competing for the win if he makes it in that front group. If not, he'll be fighting in a group behind, and, you know, the sprinters behind will be competing for, you know, the minor places of the top 10, so it's still not a bad shout. Schachmann, no. Seneschal, no. Turgis, probably not. Wellens is going for the Renawai Tour, so I'm not sure whether he's too fussed about doing well here. Philipsen isn't here. Quentin Herman's finished in 3rd place in this race last year, so maybe he's going to try and do something similar. Other than that, the other 16 credit riders aren't that great. 14 credit riders. Haller won this race last year, seemingly out of nowhere. Could he do the same thing? Yes, he certainly could do. But it's hard to tell with these riders. Sometimes they just come out of the woodwork and do really well. But based upon recent form, Haller isn't a good choice. Louvel, McClay, probably providing support for Demar. Jonathan Milan, I like as well. He's going to be the leader for Bahrain Victorious. Very fast rider. We saw him doing so well in the Giro. He can do some decent climbing efforts. I think that he should be able to survive these climbs. And also, he looked very good at the track World Champs recently, so he does have the form. Other 14 credit riders, Tom Schoens maybe, but I think he'll be working for Pedersen. Jake Stewart, Corbin Strong, both good options as well as punchers. I would favour Corbin Strong probably as my favourite 14 credit rider. 12 credit riders, there aren't too many. Maybe Einhorn, Case Ball, Maybe McNulty if you were thinking of another attacking option, but like I said, Einhorn and Ball are the good sprinting options from this. Swift I expect to be working for Hayter, even though I do think he would have good chances if he was set free. 10 credit riders, possibly Nikias Arndt if you think that Milan isn't going to make it over the climbs. But in terms of other ones, there aren't really that many great ones from a 10 credit rider. Maybe like VELOGAMES, because they don't really have a leader out and out. Do Intermarché, 8 credit riders. My favourite ones are actually 2 from Quickstep, which is Stan Van Tlicht and Ethan Vernon. I don't think that Merlier is going to make the climbs, in all honesty, and I think that he's quite expensive for kind of banking on him making it over the climbs, whereas I do think that Vernon, after looking really good at track world champs, is okay at climbing, probably better than Merlier. And if he isn't good enough at climbing, then Stan Van Tlicht is. He came second to Arnaud the other day. He's got a pretty fast sprint. He's in a contract year. He needs to get a good result. I think that Van Tlicht could be a bit of an outside rider, but at 8 credits it is a little bit risky, I will admit. 6 credit riders, maybe Owain Doull. He did do alright at the World Championships. Nils Akoff is one of my favourite ones. Him and Meyerhofer are the leaders for DSM, and they're going to be their sprinting options, so I think that Akoff is a really good one. I like Felix Engelhardt as well, just because he's looked strong in kind of puncher style races, and if Groenewegen is going to get dropped, more than likely Engelhardt might be given his own freedom, where, you know, he's not going to win the sprint, but he could finish inside the top 10 or top 20 more than likely. Similarly, Eddie Finet, if Max Walscheid is dropped, Finet will probably be in kind of an attacking move, so I quite like him as well. Govakar as a sprinter for Bahrain. Maurice Michels possibly, Intermarché could be their sprinter if, you know, he's not the best at climbing, but he is pretty decent, so he might survive in kind of a second group. Gleb Silitsa, another sprinter for Astana. Will he be on lead-out duty for Case Bottle or not? I'm not entirely too sure. Other than them, there's the Van Dijk twins, but I think they'll be working for Olav Kooij, so therefore they're probably not that great either. 4 credit riders, there is Pierre Golfera. He's a pretty fast sprinter for AG2I, finished top 10 in a sprint in the Tour of Poland, so watch out for him. He's probably one of your better 4 credit riders, alongside Marius Meyerhofer, multiple times in the top 10 at the Giro d'Italia. Good sprinter, very good at climbing as well. So I think that Meyerhofer is probably the best 4 credit rider that you can go with. And other than that, there's of course Josh Tarling. He's a very strong rider, but is he just going to be a domestique? More than likely, yes, but I'll mention him nonetheless. And that's about it, to be honest with you. This is my team that I have at the moment. It's got the credits spread around quite nicely. The other thing that I would consider is maybe going with Deli and then taking off, you know, maybe taking off Milan for a 6 credit rider like an Akoff or a Felix Engelhardt, or I might take off, you know, a couple of credits on Bettiol for possibly as well. I'm just finding it quite hard to get Deli onto my team, but I think that he is probably the favourite for this race. I think that's what the bookies are saying. But let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below for this BEMER Classic. I think that there's going to be a lot of similar riders, lots of Pedersens, lots of Delis, etc. And all that is that to say.